Is that gonna work? Maybe. Right. That should work. Yes, people, how are we doing? Hopefully everyone's good. Welcome to just literally a sit-down YouTube Q&A. Now, I don't usually wear hats, but I bought a cap, so I'm going to be wearing the cap. I'm not going bald, not yet, but basically every bodybuilder that wears hats usually are bald. So I thought I'd explain that because I definitely haven't just lost my hair in the last couple of weeks since the last upload. So I'm going to do basically just a YouTube Q&A. I put a question box up on my story, and I have had, honestly, I'd say at least 30 questions. So we're going to try and go through, potentially more, maybe 40 to 50. Going to try and just go through them all in one go. Hubert, if you could potentially put some timestamps in for the more important questions, and then obviously you'll see the questions on screen, all that sort of stuff. I've answered a few on Instagram, but I thought I'd kind of go through them as a collection here. So basically, let's just get into it. So first question, I'm going to go from the bottom in regards to IGF-DES dosing. How would I, hypothetically, obviously everything that we talk about here, PD, peptides, completely hypothetical. None of us actually do this. Nobody does it, okay? So what would I do dosaging wise? Now, I think we've got to understand the mechanisms of how IGF-DES works, and the fact that, in my opinion, if it's not administered within the muscle post-workout with some form of growth hormone present, it really doesn't do too much. So you need training stimulus, you then need some growth hormone, basically like, let's say, some spikes from a growth hormone perspective. And as a result, if you don't do that, you don't really get the most out of it. LR3 or Increlex, which I might have found a source for Increlex. So I think I'm gonna do like a YouTube series on like Increlex and the effects of it, because I'm really excited to try that. But whenever I've used DES, I think it more so becomes annoying. The fact you train, you're then like, right, I need to pin some GH, then an hour and a half or whatever, 2 hours later, you're like, right, now I need to go and take my IGF-DES. And then if you obviously have to do it like into each muscle, let's say you train your lats, let's say you do back and biceps, lats, biceps, or let's say you can't even do certain body parts, obviously you're not going to like just stick a needle and think, oh yeah, cool, let me just try and hit my rhomboid or my erector. Oh, that'd be awful. That'd probably be the worst injection. Imagine a rectum injection. Or an erection injection. That's probably the worst. So yeah, I would say if I was to hypothetically prescribe a dose, honestly, I wouldn't even know relative to what would actually be beneficial. I think you have to take a good amount. Like, I think, let's say if I'm honest, you'd probably want to go through a vial, genuinely, like within 3 sessions. So as a result, the dosages wise, like with how expensive it is to even get the acute IGF spike, what I'd say is just put the money into more growth hormone, get your IGF up through and just taking more than probably 5 to 6 units of GH a day. And as a result, I think you'll get way more serum GH, and you're not going to get basically IGF that kind of just bounces around your body that is maybe working, maybe it's intramuscular, it's just, I don't know. But yeah, there might be a guy who's transformed a body part. If you've got a really lagging body part, would it maybe make sense? Potentially, but yeah, so that's that. Now, next one thing you can see yourself achieving in the future, one thing you would hope to achieve. So if I'm being honest, is that not kind of like the same thing? Like, is the first one just a bit more negative? Like, you're just like, okay, what's like, you know, the least? What's like the normal thing? So I'd like to say for the more normal, boring thing, I'd like to see Liverpool win a game of football this weekend. That would be good. Or like in the next couple of weeks, that'd be great. Maybe get top 4 this year. But no, I'll answer them as a collective. I think like the one thing I would like that I can see is just me achieving, like, in a sense, not direct happiness from enjoying the process, but just doing what I'm doing and just doing it better. That's what I fucking love. And one thing I'd hope to is to be able to do that for as long as possible, healthy, injury-free, the people around me all support it, and it not become a burden or a negative. And if it does, me be mature enough to make the call that it's not going to be beneficial for me to continue. But at the same time, like, that's the last thing I'm thinking of. So yeah, I don't really ever think too much in the future other than what do I need to do today to get better in all aspects. And I think when you start to think like that, in my opinion, I just think you make a bit more progress in regard to like like when you start out, it's so easy to think about, like, let's say in the future, how jacked you're going to be, or winning a show, winning an overall, winning a pro fucking car, pro show, whatever, having a cool car, having a gym. Like, the more stuff you get, the more you realize that it's a process that you should love. And that sounds a bit cringy. And if I heard that when I was in my early 20s, late teens, I would have been like, fuck, this guy's fucking weird. But it is honestly the truth. And that's somebody who's coming from quite a privileged and good position, I'd say. So yeah, relative to the work I've put in. So how much gear is too much gear? Depends. A wise man once said, take as much growth hormone and other things until you basically can't afford any. So have you got more money? Have you got money in your bank? Go and spend it on GH, bro. For actual androgens, I think it really depends on the individual, how hard you're willing to push. Obviously, there's going to be a point of no returns, or not point of no returns, like there's a lethal dose. To be fair, Dallas McCarver would probably say differently relative to how much fucking testing we get in this system. But that I don't think was from PEDs, but I don't think it probably helped. But regardless, there's going to be a point of not no returns, but a point where you can return, but your health's going to be pretty fucked. Now, usually, I would say for most people, side effects will probably be prevalent if your cycle design is not going to be stacked up correctly. So you're taking way too much, way too early, and you don't know how to mitigate side effects. Your body isn't used to, let's say, a higher amount of androgens. For reference, like for me, like the highest gear that I've ever gone to is like 2.2 grams in 2024. And like I have had, like, as much as I'm wearing a cap, I've had no hair loss. My hair's really good. I don't really get spots or anything like that. And I say that I've got like 2 spots on my forearm right now, so I'm a big liar. I have had gyno surgery. That was from puberty. I never actually had that exacerbated from PED use. And like all health markers are pretty sound where I'd expect them to be. So I've been relatively lucky, but I also didn't push gear in the first couple of years, and I worked things up and I know my ratios. And 2.2 grams, let me tell you, that's not like a low amount of gear, but like I would look at it, I'd say that's quite a high, medium to high, but then also I'm on stage at 250 pounds. So it's like, yeah, like you're gonna have to take some if you're trying to get there. So I would personally say, like, usually when you go past the 10 to 12 milligram per kilo, obviously that's dose dependent, individual dependent, compound dependent. So let's say, for example, you're 100 kilos watching this and you're taking more than 1.2 grams, you're probably going to be running into maybe some sides, or you're definitely not going to be, it's not going to be positive towards your health, especially from a duration standpoint. But in my opinion, I think a lot of the times it's a case where like you see guys that are running like 3, 4, 5 grams of gear, and like I don't think 4 grams is going to be so much better than 3 grams is, but let's say, for example, or 2 grams, but let's say 2 grams is probably going to be a fair amount better than 1 gram if you think about, let's say, kind of the efficacy as the dose gets up. But again, I don't need to be thinking to myself, I didn't get off stage last year and thought to myself, right, I was 250, I was like 248, 249 on stage. Now, let me get to 270, let me go and take 4 grams of gear. That's never been in my mind. I don't ever see myself going over like 2.5 grams. Like this off season, I'm still below, way below 1.8 grams. It's more so a case of like ticking off different pathways, GH, stuff like that. So yeah, it's obviously person dependent. Someone might listen to this and go, what the fuck, that's so extreme, because you're in, let's say, the first year or two of competing and you're on 300 tests and 200 masts. And spoiler alert, you're not going to get jacked in huge open bodybuilder pro level size on 300 tests, 200 masts. I'm sorry, it doesn't happen. I did my first prep on legitimately 300 tests and 200 masts. I was 205 pounds on stage. Did I look all right? Yeah. But did I look like a fucking super heavyweight open bodybuilder, kind of like I do now? No. So yeah. Right, next one. Tips on not spilling or coming in too stringy. This was one of the questions I actually answered. So this is really, really easy. Fullness at the amateur level does not win shows, okay? Please, please, everybody get that into your head. The one thing I always see so many people think about is like, oh, I was flat. Most of the time, especially within like PCA, so UK, probably most popular, definitely the most popular federation, PCA will always favor condition, okay? In, let's say, different federations, and the more muscle you have, the more fullness really matters. But let's say, for example, you're a natural athlete, you don't need to be full. You need to be crispy, hard, and full enough to the point where you look all right. Same in most classes. I think a lot of people overspill, overeat, don't think, they think, oh, I'm gonna look better, because realistically, the more food you eat in a peak, usually the better you feel, the better you look in the gym, and you'll be like, I look ridiculous, but you don't realize you've lost a lot of lines of detail and you're almost so full that it's blurring over those lines. And then when you step on stage under harsh lighting with people that are, let's say, against you, who are peeled, you will look soft. And you'll be like, what the fuck, bro? I look great the day before, or the next day. I look so much better the next day. I was like, oh yeah, because you're not on fucking stage. And then you mix in potentially some shit water manipulations from a horrendous coaching setup, or let's say maybe being dehydrated or whatever, or likewise just stress, you don't get a good pump. These things that, especially when you've like fucked or made silly decisions in the peak, what happens? Shit like this, okay? So yeah, I would say always go on the slightly more conservative side, do a bit of a linear load. So let's say you're on stage on Sunday, let's say, for example, the previous Sunday, you start slowly bringing down cardio. Ideally by midweek, it's all out. You start bringing up food slowly. So you start adding in carbohydrates and you just keep going. Every day, linear sort of load until you find a look you're pretty content with. And at that point, do some pump sessions, manipulate fluid a touch if you need to, find a look you're happy with, and then bang, roll on stage with that. and you'll probably do better than the whole Hail Mary, oh my God, I'm flat, let me do 1,000 carb, 1,200 carb, 1,500 carb, 1,800 carb, and then, yep, cool, you're out of shape and you look shit. So, yeah, right. Next one, what are my realistic / achievable goals for this upcoming season? So, for people that don't know, I imagine they do, last year was my first year in open bodybuilding. I did 4 shows, I won 3 overalls, I got a PCA Pro card, FitX Pro card, second at British Finals, that was the only one I didn't win. So I got 3 class wins out of 4, 3 overalls, every class win I had, I won an overall. And then obviously I got second at British Finals to Josh Law, who like fantastic bodybuilder, really, really good. Deservedly beat me just because he was more dense, more of an open bodybuilder, which makes complete sense. So with me going to, ideally this year, depending on how things align, maybe a PCA Pro show, but most likely just like a 2 Bros regional, which is the NPC like regionals, and then some obviously pro qualifiers. Realistically, I think I will be pretty fucking close, if I'm honest, to an IFBB Pro card. It's funny because I think a lot of guys will naturally have the thought of like, I don't know, I think in a sense, if you were to say to me, and I didn't know me, couldn't see myself, and I said, right, my first year in open bodybuilding was last year, and then the next year I'm going to go win an IFBB Pro card. Bearing in mind, open bodybuilding is usually dominated by guys in their very late 20s, early 30s, mid 30s to late 30s. I have been assisted for 4 years, and I've been in open bodybuilding for 1 year. How well am I going to do? Am I going to win a pro card in my second year in open bodybuilding? The easy answer is to go, no, you're not. And if that's the case, then cool, I need more time. But structurally, and the way that I'm progressing, the way that I'm growing, it's almost like, it's not inevitable because you don't know what's going to happen. I could run into some health issues, I could get injured again. But realistically, I know I'm going to get one within the next year or 2. That being said, it's not a case where I feel like I need to rush, we don't have any pressure, and I'm very realistic. Like, it's literally, at this point, amateur bodybuilding. I am not getting paid to compete. Maybe in a few years, I potentially could be, and it's a bit more pressure, but even then, what makes me tick is my business, my coaching, my gym, me having a great relationship with my fiance, me watching football with my mum. These are the things that like make me happy. Like I've got Ghost of Yoti that I've actually got into a single player game for the first time in years, and I really want to get to the end of that. So that's why I'm going to speedrun this video. But realistically, these are the things that make me like me. Me going to the gym is very much as a side quest. Like I fucking love it. It takes over all my life, but not in a negative way. I just do it because I don't really know anything better, and I wouldn't imagine my life without it. And I love the process. So I don't really have like, when it comes to like my realistic goals are very much kind of similar to what I said earlier in regards to just enjoying the process and seeing where I stack up. And then I also am like completely like, again, quite honest, I don't see many guys outstructuring me. I think like if I'm again looking at the UK, the amateurs, most of the amateurs, if I have a fully maxed out frame, I am going to be winning pro shows. Like, I have no doubts about that. I can be really fucking good at this. I already am, in a sense, relative to time spent. I just need more time. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's one of those sort of things where like people love the sort of guy who's really humble, and I'm just like, not in a humble way. I'm just very much in a very nonchalant. I don't really care. I just like doing what I do. And I know that I can be good at this. So I'm going to keep working. And then eventually, when I don't enjoy things, things will change. But for now, and for the next 7, 8, 9 years, I'd like to say, I'm gonna be fucking going at this with all my might and vigor. Okay, right, next one. God, I'm like I've got my laptop here. I'm like trying to touch the laptop screen to touch my phone. That's weird. Right, so how long after a cut phase do you start to increase calories or bulk? Believe it or not, mate, the second you're done with a diet, you probably need to increase calories. It depends on, obviously, the goals. Realistically, I actually quite like to add high days in post-diet for most people. For myself, at this point, size-wise, maybe I'd have to like do fucking something silly calorie-wise. But for most people, I'd say like have a set high day per week or 2 high days per week. Bring your baseline calories up through that. Drop off some diet fatigue, fill up glycogen stores. You can still stay theoretically within a deficit or even like at maintenance or a very slight surplus. And then just bring your baseline food up and go from there. Wait for that, we got asked, name my England World Cup starting 11. So I am the least passionate England fan ever. I honestly would celebrate Liverpool winning a Carabooty Cup more than England winning the World Cup, which probably sounds crazy, but genuinely I would. Like, I do not care. I would celebrate Liverpool winning a semi-final of a Carabao Cup more than England winning the World Cup. I don't know why. I feel like everyone around me loves England. I just can't get behind it. I literally don't know why. The only World Cup that I actually enjoyed, we were awful, was the only England team I liked was like 2012 to 14 when we had like Daniel Sturridge, Raheem Sterling, Steven Gerrard, Glenn Johnson, and anyone else from Liverpool? Jordan Henderson. I was like, oh, I'm actually kind of watching a few Liverpool players. But that was really it. So for England, I don't really know. I'd say goalkeeper, Pickford, probably would have said Trafford, but obviously he's been on the bench for City. Right back, Reece James. Fuck Trent, even though, no, to be fair, I probably would have Reece James if he's fit. Centre-backs, Gehi and Stones. Obviously club chemistry, even though they've not played together, if Stones is fit. If not, maybe Ezri Konsa. Left-back, Nico O'Reilly or Luke Shaw. The sitting six, Adam Wharton if it's, let's say, I don't know, if you're against Spain. Elliot Anderson if not. I'd probably say depending on, like, again, how much you need to run. Declan Rice, and then the other centre-mid probably, or like, number 8, whatever, number 10, if he wants to go into that, would be Jude, I'd say. Then I'd have, I mean, Morgan Rogers would be all right if you had like Rice and Anderson, and then Morgan Rogers maybe, but Jude's going to play. Kane up front, Saka on the right, Rashford or Gordon, probably Gordon on the left. He's been doing all right in the Champions League, but yeah, I just felt like there's a lot of like it's a really good squad, but just like no standout left winger. Cole Palmer, he's just going to ride the bench. Like, Saka can't really run by the looks of things this season. Yeah, like, I don't know. It's just a lot of like, nah, but that's national teams, isn't it? Who are your guys' favourites for winning the World Cup? If you've got 16 minutes in, please drop below. I'm going to go with probably Spain for the easy answer. Portugal are all right. Brazil would be cool, but they're pretty naff, aren't they, nowadays? Argentina, maybe? Yeah, I think Spain or France. I don't know why I even ignored France. Yeah. A front four of Ekitike, Mbappe, Elise, and Ousmane Dembele. Phew, yeah, okay. That's it. That's a wrap. Yeah, France have won it, haven't they? Right, after this, how many reindeers to get this physique? 20. 20 Maltese reindeers. In my entire life of reindeer consumption, probably have had, I don't know actually. I probably ate most of the reindeers in that sitting. So Maltese reindeers, guys, absolutely fantastic. I probably would say I've had close to 60 reindeers in my life, okay? So 60 reindeers, I'd say. If you want to look like me, guys, 60 Maltese reindeers consumed immediately from this video, okay? Actually, just for the rest of the video, pause the video, go to the shop. I don't even think you can get reindeers anymore. You can get the bunnies. The bunnies are basically the same, but I think I do prefer the reindeers. No, I actually think the bunnies are better. Right, anyway. Did I ever compete in any natty competitions when I was young? I did not. Hubert, please, I'll send you some photos. I put up a photo on my story if you guys follow me on Instagram. So, who was this? Will, I feel like I know this guy. Let me see. Do I know this guy or not? No, I don't. Okay, so yeah, I didn't do any natural shows. Probably should have, looking back. I went on just before my first prep, but I got extremely lean as a teenager for no other reason than just vibes and the fact I was in, like, I just wanted to. And realistically, I could have competed, but I didn't want to present a physique that I wasn't like fully happy with in regards to natural men's physique, because I did men's physique for my first few shows. In my opinion, natural men's physique, I didn't have, when I got like all the way in through my midsection, my delts, my chest, my like upper back just like withered, and I didn't have the maturity. I was a teenager, or like early 20s, like 19, 20, 21. I didn't have the maturity to my physique. And did I want to wait 5 years for that to happen? Well, I saw my potential and I was like, not really gonna, this doesn't really make sense for me to wait. I've been bodybuilding for the last like 3 to 4 years. I've been going to the gym since I was 13. I've got really lean. I've bulked. I've done the whole up and down process countless times. And I was like, what is the difference now? Like, if I was to step on stage, would I have been really happy with my physique? No. Would I have done well? Yeah. If I did like junior men's physique, I think I probably could have won a lot of junior natural shows. But I also, that wasn't my aspirations. Like, I don't want to be competing like that, like in those sorts of like realms for me personally. So I was like, it makes sense. But I was always, again, quite objective when I came to, like, I looked at my physique, I was like, okay, I can actually be all right at this. So that's not to say if you can be actually all right, you wouldn't do it. If I was in bodybuilding, I probably would have been like, yeah, cool. I really fucking like natural bodybuilding. I think natural men's physique is great as well. I just think for me, I just wasn't really like, I didn't look at myself. I looked my best when I was like 8 weeks out conditioning. And then when I got leaner, I just looked worse. And yeah, I had a few extra lines on me, but I was like, this does not look good. I look like I've got fucking AIDS. So yeah, am I allowed to say that? It's my video. YouTube block me, bro. So yeah, right, next ones. Did you ever have a previous job before all of this? Technically, not really, no, because I got quite lucky. So I like did some jobs like when I was younger, like just shit jobs you do when you're a fucking teenager. But when you're like I fucking did some jobs for my mum and stuff, but like I was quite lucky in the sense of like, I went directly from college into like, obviously I was going to the gym, and then that was like what was taking up most of my spare time, and I was never going out or anything like that. I was like selling training plans from a young age on like Instagram and shit like that. So I always had some money spare. And I also was like never that social in regards to like, I need this or I need that. So I never really like burdened my mum for anything. Maybe FIFA points when I was like 16, 17, just so I can get a good team on FIFA. But like legitimately, everything else I'd never really asked my mum for in a sense. So it was like, by the time I got to like, I don't know, let's say 19, I was already like selling training plans. Then from like 19, 20, 21, I was coaching and I had like a few clients. And then by the time that I finished uni, I was like, oh, well, I'm making more money coaching than I would do if I'd used my uni degree. And I've been coaching now ever since. So in a sense, I'd say I'm quite lucky, because a lot of people, like, I remember getting a PT qual, like going down that route. And like, then when I was going to do like a few months at a gym through the summer for like work experience, COVID happened. And I was like, oh, great, can't do that. So like, I don't know, I say lucky, it's not lucky, it probably would actually maybe benefit me, maybe in the long run, but I can't really imagine that now with obviously me having like multiple businesses and them doing like quite well. So yeah, like kind of like just weirdly aligned where I was like, oh shit, I guess I'm doing this now. So yeah, right. If I only had 5 calf exercises, what would you do for the rest of the time? What would they be? Single leg calf, dual leg calf, donkey, single leg, dual leg donkey, stair, body weight, calf raise, and I don't know, leg toe press. There we go. The reason why they asked that, or this person asked this, Gabriel, I think his name is, awesome physique, really, really good. He competed last year. I think he won the show that I actually watched. I had a client in there. I think he finished like 4th, but he looked really good. But regardless, the guy who asked on the podcast that me and Finn do weekly, once you're in podcast, search it up, guys. But yeah, on the podcast that we do, we got asked about 5 exercises for the rest of the time, and I basically was like, these are the worst fucking questions, because it doesn't exist. So clearly calf, and I don't train calves because my calves are like 19 and a bit inches, just carrying 300 pounds of just solid ass meat around constantly. Does some stuff for your calves. So yeah, top 3 zombie maps of all time. Good question. So for everybody that doesn't know, Call of Duty Zombies, I am a mega geek. Like genuinely, you could ask me a question about the zombies lore from like any time throughout up until like Black Ops 4, and I am like, hell fucking yeah. Like I absolutely love this sort of shit. Like the only ones I haven't really been too invested in is like Black Ops 6 and 7 as much. To be fair, Cold War as well has been pretty naff. But like Call of Duty, the peak from like World at War, but then building into like Black Ops 1, then Black Ops 2, Origins, and then into Black Ops 3 and 4. 3 was the absolute peak. So I would say for best 3 zombie maps of all time, if we're going off objectiveness of like just completeness, Shadows of Evil #1, the most time they've ever put into a map. The scenes, the music, the characters, the Easter egg, how just much depth is in that map, that, and then Der Eisendrachen, and then Origins. If you said to me, like at the time of playing them, I probably had Der Eisendrachen #1, and I probably would have had Origins #2, and then maybe Mob of the Dead or like Der Riese 3 or 4. I think Der Riese based off like fun with like when I like, close my eyes and envision myself as like a 10-year-old again, sitting on the catwalk, PPSH Pack-a-Punch, the Reaper, or like MG42, just mowing down zombies and then having to like drop down because someone goes down, or you know, you're getting overrun on the catwalk. Like that is just like peak fucking zombies, peak gameplay. But like I don't think Der Riese is the same quality as like the newer maps. So yeah, oh what a time, what a time. Just close my eyes, and you know that like meme that recently is like where you see that guy in the club and he closes his eyes and then he just like starts dancing. That's like I could do that with zombies. Such a shame. Take me back, guys. Right, next one. Current training split, push-pull legs with a rest day either side of the legs. Realistically, it's really not because I keep training with people. I'm actually taking a deload this week because I keep doing push-pull legs rest, then another push-pull legs, then another push-pull legs, then another rest. I'm basically training way too much. I'm training with clients, I've got a bit more food in me, feel better. Actually, I'm dieting the last like week or 2 just to pull down a bit of weight so I can either come back up or prep. But because I've been feeling better, I'm like, yeah, I can train more. And then literally doing this the last couple of weeks and just, I am like, I touch here and I'm like, oh, sore. Oh, elbow tendonitis, push off. Oh yeah, my knee's fucked. So yeah. Touched on this before. Could you say more of the dose of insulin and timing, please? Going to be massively dependent on yourself. Insulin use, I wouldn't listen to just a random person that you don't really know on the internet, so potentially don't listen to what I would say, because insulin, if you fuck up, you can potentially die, like with any PDs really, but definitely insulin when it comes to like short acting, if you don't know how to dose it. So what I would most likely suggest is do blood glucose levels. If things start to trend upwards, so let's say for example your blood glucose is probably more than like 5.5 nanomole, you most likely probably want to deploy some Lantus or some MOT-C, retatrutide, SLU to get that lower. Lantus is really good because in my opinion it just brings things down. It increases your like swimming pool like uptake of nutrients. Imagine like you can uptake this much per day, you can just do that. So your body produces a natural amount of insulin, it basically just increases upon that. You then look at maybe the pathways between that and GH, and then let's say fast acting pre and post workout wouldn't be a bad idea, but like again, it really depends. So like Lantus can range, like I've done pretty fucking high, like 60 IUs of Lantus a day. Don't really see much benefit. Like I've had some people say it's really good. I think like anywhere from like, I think like 10 to 20 is probably a bit more like bodily relief, not too PD-like effect. It's just gonna take off stress on the body. When it gets a bit higher, that's probably when you're gonna be running into some more like positive, should we say, from like a pump standpoint, but I don't really think it's actually really gonna do a whole lot. So let's say you take Lantus at 20 to 40 IU, which 40 is a fucking lot. Like let's not get it, let's not get it misguided there. We then go insulin, fast acting, so like Nova Rapid. If you were to do like, let's say 3 to 5 IU pre and post workout, some people would say 1 IU per 10 gram of carbs. So if you're doing 10, let's say 100 carb meal, 10 IU, 200 carb, but like I've never gone past that. I don't really think you need to. I think especially with these modern peptides, your blood glucose is probably going to be pretty responsive. Sprinkle in some insulin here and there, and then take GH so you can give that sort of pathway a good amount of like sort of boost, and I imagine you'll be all good. From Finn, why am I gay? Honestly, mate, if I said it on a YouTube video, I'd be in trouble. And Sanaya watches my YouTube videos, so I'm going to move swiftly on. What shifted in your life/mindset that made you have 110% adherence to your plan set? So I woke up, guys, and I just looked around me and thought, I'm not where I want to be. And then I went on my phone, took a photo of my laptop at 4 a.m. because I woke up because I actually hadn't even gone to sleep at this point. And then, so I took a photo of my laptop, went back to bed because I put the foot on my story, grinding, okay? Then woke up at 10 a.m. But because I put a story up of me on my laptop at 4, I said grinding mindset, early bird catches the worm, because I watched a CEO YouTube video, like how to be a CEO. And then I only watched the first minute. So I went back to bed, woke up, wasn't happy with my life. But because I put that story up, people thought I was grinding and I had loads of applications and I was like, oh my God, this is a cheat code. So I basically, that's what changed. I learned how to bullshit social media and make a living out of it. And then I don't even bodybuild. Like I literally just take steroids at this point. So that is all a joke. That is all a joke. Nothing changed. I just built upon habits that I set when I was young. I've been doing like the same sort of shit since I was 13. I was a single child. So I had no siblings. I have literally just my mum, like I don't have a dad. So my upbringing was very much just a case of me and my mum. I ate the same foods daily. I went to the gym because I literally, like I said, had nothing really better to do and I really enjoyed it. I progressed at a slightly faster rate than my friends, probably just due to genetics and the fact I was very geeky. I used to put a lot of time into it, watch a lot of podcasts. I knew how to dial in my diet and stuff like that, and then just built off that. And now it's like, well, if I wasn't going to be 100%, what the fuck am I doing? I'm wasting my time. Like I only live once. I don't want to be getting to 35, 40 and think I'm not actually taking this to the levels that I can because I've been fucking lazy. So yeah, nothing shifted. I just became the person that I always wanted to be and always knew I could be. And now I am. So yeah. Bounce your pecs from Gay and Loving It 62. Nope, sorry. I mean, to be fair, actually, there are different videos I can do. Please pay me, check the link in description. Actually, I don't do that, but I wonder like, because realistically, let's say if this was to get leaked, I wouldn't give a fuck. I could not care. So like, I wonder how much I could bullshit somebody to pay me to bounce my pecs. Like surely there's gotta be some money in that. Who is your favourite bodybuilder of all time? Open and then classic. So I'm going to go with men's physique first, because you didn't even ask men's physique. Men's physique, Jeremy Bourdieu, 2016, 17, 18. Absolute peak of men's physique. I think it was 17, where it was like a blue backdrop or whatever. Looked fucking incredible. So good. Classic. I think everyone would probably say C-Bum. I'm trying to think of anything else that I like really liked his physique. There's a Polish dude, I don't know his name off the top of my head, who won some pro shows in the last like 12 months. He looks absurd. Peter, something I think his name is. Like every Polish dude's like Peter or fucking something like that. So I'm sorry, Polish guys, probably a bit racist, but kind of true. Piotr, yeah, Peter, whatever. Yeah, he looks fucking awesome, like ridiculous. Matt Grego looks really fucking good as well. If you go back like the old school sort of do like Frank Zane from like an aesthetic standpoint, again, a classic bodybuilder, but yeah, I don't really know. Like, yeah, I don't. And then my favorite open bodybuilder, probably Phil Heath from like an objectiveness like standpoint, like insane muscle belly, so round and full. I find it crazy that people say Ronnie Coleman's better than Phil Heath. Like, I'm sorry, it's just not. From a muscularity, from a pure muscularity standpoint, yes, but it's bodybuilding. Like, sorry, how round and bubbly Phil Heath's like look was. Like 2011 to like 13 before his midsection was gone. So good, so good. So yeah, I'd probably say Phil Heath from like a, like, I like almost like how much he impressed me. I really liked Urz's physique last year, like even though obviously he didn't do amazingly in the Olympia. I say, I mean, he still was like fucking what, top 15, was he like 14th or 13th or something. Might have even been better than that actually. But yeah, I thought Urz looked class, like really, really good. So yeah, I don't really know. I don't really have like anyone's favourite physiques. I tell a lie actually. Jasima Beast, he is incredible. What the fuck? The look that he had at that, did he do Romania or some, it wasn't Prague. It was some show a few weeks after Olympia. And it had like a golden, like a more golden tan base of stage lighting. So, so good. Yeah, Jasima Beast a few weeks after Olympia. What the fuck was that? So, so good. So yeah, he'd probably be one of my favourite guys in the circuit right now. Am I competing this year? Yep, I am. Not too sure when. Maybe now, maybe later. Got a few ideas. Not really that stressed. I'm just going to kind of go with the flow and see kind of how things line up. The same person always asks me this, and it's health issues from PD use. I feel like I never really want to answer these based off the fact that like you always are going to upset certain people, but she asks me every single time. So I'm not too sure if it's a case where, I don't know, like maybe they've had health issues or whatever, but no, I haven't really had any health issues so far. I imagine the deeper you get into bodybuilding, naturally you're going to be rolling the dice, and the time on is never going to be a good thing. It's not exactly healthy. But have I had any direct health issues right now? Touch wood, no. And hopefully that continues, but I also am in no denial that there is going to be that element of risk with everything you do. So yeah, I wouldn't be saying like no health issues, because there's definitely going to be things in the background that aren't going to be exactly happy with me taking performance enhancing drugs. So yeah, makes sense. Pose down when from Tamstagram. People that don't know Tammy, she trains at my gym. Probably one of like the widest females I've ever seen. Like genuinely is like as wide as like a fucking plane. Like absolutely ridiculous rig. So yeah, never, because you'll make me look shit. Thanks. Benefits of running MOT-C in a fat loss phase. Insulin sensitivity. So you're going to uptake nutrients even better. You're going to have greater training output, energy output. Pumps are probably a bit better based off like blood glucose levels being a little bit more within kind of like ideal ranges for nutrient uptake. Probably going to notice again like intraset recovery as well going to be better. Intraset sort of like, or recovery post cardio, net general recovery, everything's going to be better. So like benefits, all the benefits basically. MOT-C is fantastic, really, really good. Definitely recommend it to most people if you like you're bodybuilding at a decent level. That in line of like SLU and then like retatrutide, yeah, cheat code, really, really good. Do I find there is more pressure on myself as a bodybuilder or as a coach for your clients? Or do I have more pressure on myself as a bodybuilder? All right, do you find there's more pressure on yourself as a bodybuilder or as a coach for your clients? I don't know, I have pressure all the time. I give a fuck about what I do. So I'd say like pressure from clients. I don't have clients that are like waking me up going like, oh my God, Reese, like you better not fucking miss on the peak this week, bro. Like I'm going to leave you if you don't nail it and I'm not somehow 20 pounds up and leaner in a peak. I'm like, okay, they're probably not going to leave me because that's not going to happen. But like as a influencer, that sounds cringy, but technically I've got like a good amount of followers. As someone who posts themselves online and has a good amount of clients, if I was to go and fucking bomb a show and look awful, and then everyone be like, oh, well done, mate. Like, realistically, if I step on stage and I'm asking people to get inside out peeled and I step on stage with soggy fucking glutes, they're not going to respect me. Like, I'm sorry, as much as you'll go, no, they will, it is human nature that if the person you're looking up to genuinely can't do it themselves, like regardless of placings, but like, because I could finish 5th and look really good, but if I was out of shape and I've like ate off plan, of course they're going to lose respect for you. So I don't have pressure from that, but I get why there would be pressure. But I don't feel any pressure from a bodybuilding standpoint because I'm new in the game. I've got like it's not like I said, there's money on the line or anything like that. Like I see so many people like losing themselves because they put, again, there's so much like negative pressure, or like you can just see they don't enjoy the process. It's like, we're all fucking amateurs, guys. Like even the pros, like it should be out of choice and out of enjoyment. Like if I was ever doing a prep and I was like, oh God, I don't want to do my cardio. I just want to eat more food, or I don't want to train, I wouldn't do it. I would fucking go and do whatever. I would not stick to the plan. But I've never done that in my entire life because I want to do it. Yeah. Right. How do I eat when I'm sick on prep or a cut? I don't force feed. Probably don't eat. Take it a few days of easy fat loss, bro. No. I think it's one of those liquid calories, eating a little bit differently, eating foods just to think calories in a bit, you're going to be better than nothing. Most important thing is probably going to be hydration in situations like this. So it's not really a direct answer, I'd say, but just like, don't be thinking, like, the worst thing is to go, oh my God, I'm ill, I feel sorry for myself, let me go and have a pizza. Or the other worst thing is just to sit in your room all day, feeling sorry for yourself, not do any steps, let's say literally just go to the toilet and back, and then don't eat because you'll feel like shit, and that's not going to help recovery. So just try and keep yourself ticking over and think, what can I do? Like, and luckily as well, I do think most people, especially in preps, like especially illness, you usually do a good amount. Like even if you can't train, like you're not going to probably be hospitalized. Like I've been ill in prep, but I've still been able to like do light cardio, do my steps, still stick to a rough idea of my meal plan and stuff like that. And it's a short period of time. And as long as it's not like a week out, you'll be good to go. So yeah. Right. If you're looking towards summer when cow's high, would you start aggressive or build up? I don't know, bro. It depends on how fat you are, I guess. That's a bit rude, but this is the truth. Right, last 4 questions. So, did I run 10 IU or GH throughout prep and off season? No, I started at 5 IU on my in my prep, and then every time I made a food drop, I bumped up 2 IUs of GH. So I ended up at 12 IU, which doesn't make sense because it should have been 11, but somehow maybe I went to like 10 from 7 or 8, I can't remember. But I ended up at 12, and then I did 15 to 20 IU the night before each show. So it was fucking expensive, guys. Training plans in bio, please, or link below, training plans. Buy some training plans, guys, please. If I get 5 training plans sold, I'll be able to buy some more GH. So that'll give me another couple of days in prep, please. You want me to win a pro card? Buy some training plans or sign up for coaching. That is a joke, but kind of not. Yeah, so 10 IUs was used towards the latter end, probably the last couple of weeks into the midpoint shows. And I think it was like the last week before the first show, and then for the 5 weeks after. And then I've used 10 IUs of GH for the entirety of the off season, bar the last 2 weeks. So the last like 5 months, basically. So yeah, not that there's anything magic about 10. Really don't think there is. I think past 6 to 7, the responsiveness per IU does get a little bit less. So like, let's say you got like 2 or 3, the higher it gets, the more the more you're gonna get out of it to a certain extent. So let's say 1 here, 2 here, 3 here, 4 here, 5 here, 6 here, 7 here, 8 here, 9. So it still goes up, but it starts to dwindle off slightly. Believe that high HGH, 4 IU each day or 5 to 6 train days only helps muscle growth. Well, a bigger amount. So shout out Hilly Doc. He was somebody who was preaching about this on the JP forums years ago about basically like almost a bolus shot of GH if you can only take like a certain amount. If we're going off like peak IGF, taking it like 3 to 4 times a week at like, let's say you had, I don't know, so 4 IU per 7. So what would that be? 28 IU of GH a week. Let's say, for example, you've got 30 IU of GH per week to use. You'd probably be better off doing, let's say, 8 IU of GH or 7 IU. Yeah, you'd probably be better off doing 7 IU of GH 4 times a week. So doing it like that instead of doing like 4 to 5 IU of GH a day, if that makes sense. From an IGF standpoint. Now, I would personally probably back that as well. But if you're going off general well-being, you're not trying to maximize muscle growth, you're trying to maximize well-being, sleep, all that sort of stuff, you're probably better off doing 4. But from a bodybuilding standpoint, I would say do the most you can, probably a little bit less frequently, personally. And then also like 5 to 6, let's say you train 5 times a week and you're doing 6 IU per train day, you're doing 30 IUs, 4 IUs, like why can you not just do 5 IU, 6? Just do 6 IU a day, bro. Like just do that. Like surely you just don't go a month without buying Starbuckses. You'll be able to afford those extra like, I don't know, 8 to 10 IUs of GH like per couple weeks, okay? So yeah, prefer EQ in off-season, bro. What ratio? Believe it's okay with tests not to give low E2. Depends on the individual, depends how lean you are, depends how often you administer. Usually, like I'd say for most people, like probably a 2-to-1 ratio isn't too bad. So like 2-to-1 test to EQ. So if you're at 600 tests, 300 EQ will probably be sound. I have some guys that aromatize stupidly fucking heavily. Aaron McGagan has like, I think a 1-to-1 ratio or something similar. Maybe it's like 100 milligram test more now. But like realistically, some people do aromatize a lot more. That doesn't mean immediate issues, and we shouldn't really be scared of E2 being high. We probably want to actually be scared of it being low. But yeah, I think a lot of people are doing like the same sort of protocols as they did before with like their Master and Primo. And they're doing like, let's say 500 tests and then like 700-800 EQ. And then they're like, oh mate, my joints feel awful and I feel like shit. It's like, yeah, what do you expect, bro? So yeah. And then final question, and it's a good question. I answered this on my story. Different approaches to filling back up when dieting as digging longer gets a worse look. Now, I think this is one of those that's going to be very hard to give a direct answer for. So as good as it is a question, it's hard to say directly, this is the reason why. But in my opinion, the people that get worse when they dig, it's because your training is, there's a few reasons. Your training's shit, your training intensity is not good, you're doing too much in general, so too much cardio, not enough recovery, whatever, or your food's too low, you're digging too hard. Or potentially your sleep is horrendous and your body is just not set up well. You're taking too much clen, you've got way too much bodily stress, oxidative stress through the roof, all this sort of stuff that can happen in a prep if things aren't managed well. And as a result, like when you dig, you don't get better. But also sometimes it can happen, especially if you're new to the game, you've put on a good amount of muscle early or whatever. Some people's physiques aren't amazing at getting peeled. Luckily, like I would say, like out of like genetic factors, like you've got to remember everyone has like a certain set point. And for me, I'm usually somebody who can progress really fucking well in prep. And as a result, like let's say for example, you've got like when people say, oh, I've got good genetics, you've got good genetics. Some people can put on muscle easier. Some people can get lean really easy. Some people can get lean, but they don't look like they've got muscle. Some people can grow in prep, some people can't. Like there's like certain things where bodybuilding isn't just like genetic. You can be amazingly genetically blessed. I had a guy, Storm Hanekom, absolutely insane when it came to putting on muscle. Puts on muscle is easier than I've ever seen anyone do it. But retaining muscle in a prep is like super fucking challenging. And a lot of the times it's those smaller aspects you've got to look upon, but it also could just be genetic setups. But I would say for somebody like this, dig in less fatiguing ways. Maybe do more steps, don't do as much cardio. Make sure your food is prioritized around the workout window. Food prioritized pre-bed. Sleep is essential, absolutely essential. Look upon the newer peptides to kind of, again, tick off different pathways of fat loss. So like things like 5-amino-1-MQ, SLU, stuff like that. Very low dose Reta working within the background, or MOT-C, stuff like that to make your body really, really efficient. Know when you have to actually have a high day or fill up. It doesn't have to be spiking up body weight significantly. Or likewise, you could do just de-output days. So instead of a refeed, you could do a de-output. And a de-output would be the exact same food, just don't do any cardio and bring down your steps and manage that fatigue. Or manage your fatigue through training. Take a week where you do devolumes, maybe have a few days off, whatever it's gonna be. Don't go to failure in a few sessions. These are things that, like, again, you just get better and more versed with the deeper you get into a process, and you start to sort of to add up the things that are good and the things that aren't as good. But if you're like a newer sort of guy, which this guy isn't, this guy's like been training for a good amount of time. But like if you're a newer sort of dude, I think it's very easy to go, oh my God, like I lost muscle, I got worse. And sometimes as well, it's because you didn't have the muscle. You look like you had the muscle because you were fuller, but you're not full. So as a result, you look worse. So it's a tricky one, but those would be my sort of thoughts, okay? So that is the video. I don't know how long, 42 minutes. Fairs? I feel like I've got through those questions pretty quick. I thought it might be a little bit longer. But thank you for every single person who sent them in. I probably should have said that at the start of the questions, because I probably seemed a little bit, oh yeah, I got loads of questions, guys, but didn't actually say thank you. So thank you to everybody who sent them in. If you guys like these sort of videos, please let me know. I can happily do more. It's actually quite enjoyable just to sit down for 40 minutes and just chat away about, let's say, questions, bodybuilding, life, Call of Duty Zombies, and a bit of football. So yeah, that is that. Hope you guys enjoyed. Any questions? Any questions? Look for the question box, guys. Don't drop them below. Look for the question box. And I'll catch you guys in the next episode, next YouTube video. Yeah, cool. Sound. Bye-bye.